We are less than 20 hours from the start of the National League Division Series. Dodgers against Phillies. It's going to be a battle. The Dodgers gave us some news about their starting rotation, some thoughts about the roster, and we will look ahead to what about this series scares us and has us excited. All of that on this episode of All Dodgers. Hey, coming at you live from my mom's basement in Pleasant Grove, Utah. This is the All Dodgers podcast, brought to you by FanDuel, part of the Bleav Network of podcasts. I am Jeff Snider. I'm not alone. I've got that guy in his kitchen somewhere in Illinois. That is Kevin Skinner. We are All Dodgers. We are 2/3 of All Dodgers. Clint Pasillas is camping. Last time we went camping, the Dodgers won 2 out of 3 from the Blue Jays, I believe. So hopefully the Dodgers can play well again with Clint gone this weekend because the NLDS starts in like 19 and a half hours, Kevin. And Dodgers Phillies is a matchup. This is going to be a good series.
Yeah, I tweeted out, this is the most excited I've been for a non-World Series matchup probably since 2018. It's not only a non-divisional rival that they're playing in the playoffs, but it's an actual powerhouse. Like, these are two teams that need to play each other for basically the sake of baseball. Like, not like baseball's going to implode if they don't, but because these are two teams that are built for the playoffs. They have firepower on every facet of the game, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And, you know, no offense to the Mets last year when the Dodgers met them in the NLCS, but I mean, the Mets are not the Phillies. Like, this is going to be a really, really compelling series, no matter how it shakes out.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't have the roster yet. They won't release that until tomorrow morning. Somebody in the chat, Matty Man, asked. He said they treat it like it's some top secret document. There's no reason to release it until you have to, because if you release the roster today, make it official, and then somebody sleeps wrong and is unable to play, and you remove them from the roster, then they're ineligible for the NLCS roster. Once you're on the roster, if they take you off, then you can't play in the next series. So, yeah, you wait until the last possible minute before you have to release it. I'm sure the Dodgers have decided on the roster. In fact, we know that because Dave Roberts made at least one announcement today about it. But we'll get to that in a minute, because the other big announcement that Dave Roberts made today was making official what we've kind of assumed about the starting rotation. We knew that Shohei Ohtani was going to start game 1. And Dave Roberts confirmed that it will be Blake Snell in game 2, Yoshinobu Yamamoto in game 3, and then Tyler Glasnow in game 4. He said Glasnow would be available to pitch in relief in game 1. And it would be treated like a between starts bullpen session, kind of like Clayton Kershaw did in Arizona, pitching in relief in between starts. Nothing about this surprises me, Kevin, except for the fact that Tyler Glasnow is a very good pitcher, and at this point, he's going to end up going at least 12 days between starts. Plus, his last start of the regular season was an abbreviated start. He only went 3 innings through 36 pitches, something like that. 36. I was right. For once in my life, I was right about something. But also, I was looking, and he did throw 100 or more pitches in 4 straight starts before that. Seems like, with Tyler Glasnow's history of, let's say, less than durability, that's not a grammatically correct phrase at all. He's no Anthony Rendon, but he's no Steve Garvey. We'll put it that way. I think maybe that's part of their thought, is to make sure that he is rested and fresh when he does pitch for them in the playoffs.
Yes, I think it's that. I think also if you line up the rotations, the Phillies, for as good as the rotation is, and it's a very, very, very good rotation, their 4th or 5th best starter is not even close to Tyler Glasnow. I mean, you're talking Aaron Nola, who's been bad, or you're talking Walker Buehler, who until he reached the Phillies and his role has at the most been in relief, has also not had a good season. You pair either of those guys up against Tyler Glasnow, and guess what? Favorite Glasnow. It's not particularly close. And at the same time, if you were to take the Dodgers starters and kind of put them in a bag and shake it all up and go, I want to draw the Dodgers pitcher with the nastiest stuff on any given day, it's gonna probably be Tyler Glasnow. He just has a sick fastball, disgusting curve. Like his stuff on any given day is just better than almost every pitcher in baseball. And if you put him on a 1 to 2 inning roll, it's even filthier. So I think that's what they're kind of rolling with. It's like, hey, if we need you in game 4, guess what? You're starting. But if we need you in relief, guess what? You're probably the nastiest reliever in baseball outside of Johan Duran, or at least in this series, you're the nastiest reliever outside of Johan Duran. We know the Dodgers have gotten to in the last series. So it's just, I think you're looking at it from stuff and need. And we know he's not as durable as the other guys, but his stuff is just filth.
Yeah, it absolutely is. There's also the fact that Tyler Glasnow's worst start of the season did come in Philadelphia. And, I think that was a lot due to the weather, not the actual stadium itself, but also October in Philadelphia, there's a chance for weather again. So I think it makes sense to say, well, let's make sure we're at home when Tyler Glasnow does start in this series. And once you've said he's not going to start,
the reason they're going to push him back is because everybody else is on regular rest. And as starters go, the other guys are better on regular rest than Tyler Glasnow is right now. Tyler Glasnow is really, really, really good in like condensed spurts, but he is susceptible to that one inning that he just blows up. I mean, we're talking like 2014 Kershaw kind of like playoff situation where he's really good until he isn't. The other guys who on regular rest are probably, you can at least count on them a little more, even if their stuff isn't as good as Glasnow.
Yeah, and that's probably true. It's a good problem to have, the fact that Tyler Glasnow would be the number 1 or 2 starter on most teams in these playoffs. Obviously the Phillies, he wouldn't be the number 1 starter. That's going to be Sanchez, but he would be in conversations to be the 2 or 3 starter. And I think every other team in the playoffs, without having all their pitching staffs in front of me, you got Tarik Skubal. He's not going to be number 1, but
well, he's number 1. Like if he's ready to go, like you start Tarik Skubal over Glasnow. But
Glasnow is an easy pick over Jack Flaherty or Casey Mize.
Yeah, well, like so for this upcoming series, having not spent the last guy.
Yeah, yes. So worst case scenario is a number 2 starter for most other teams in the playoffs, and for the Dodgers, he's kind of an easy choice for the number 4 starter because Ohtani is ready to go. I'm really excited to see what Ohtani can do in this. They've said it's going to be just another start, which made sense all along. And I said it all along when people were getting angry. Why are they babying Shohei Ohtani? We're going to need him in the playoffs. And I said, it's so that we'll have bullets to pitch in the playoffs. Don't overuse him now and let him go as deep as he can. He'll, assuming he pitches well, I would guess they'd be fine with him throwing 100 pitches tomorrow. And Shohei Ohtani could easily get through 7 innings on 100 pitches. If he can do that, they probably don't push him much farther than that, farther than 100, because I think he maxed out at 86 or something this year in the regular season. I'm looking at that right now. I should have had that tab open, but I had Tyler Glasnow's open instead. And then Ohtani always messes me up because the game logs, it takes me to the hitting ones first if I click the wrong one. So, 91 pitches is his last start. So 6 innings on 91 pitches. So yeah, if he could be about that efficient, get through 7 on, 100, 104 pitches, whatever, Dodgers would definitely take that. And then you just have to figure out the 8th inning and then the 9th inning. The 8th inning seems to be the scary one, but Ohtani, obviously he pitched against the Phillies just a couple weeks ago and looked very, very good against them. 5 innings, no hits, just the 1 walk. All in all, that was the game. Oh yeah, that was the game that people were mad that he got pulled out of the no-hitter because Dodgers ended up losing that game because Justin Robleski came in and immediately.
You talked about that last night, didn't you, with Steven Nelson?
I know we were talking about the Yamamoto game.
I don't. Okay.
We may have. We talked about it a lot with Steven Nelson last night.
You did. For everybody who's talking about Glasnow being better at home or on the road, at least OPS given up against, it's pretty minimal. You have 577 OPS given up at home, 606 OPS given up on the road. It's not a huge difference. I think part of that has to do with weather and probably defensive comfortability. Like just, guys who want to make sure that they can field the ball properly, given different, dirt conditions and stuff like that. And Glasnow has had, unfortunately, some fairly bad luck on the road this year. There was obviously that start in Philly. He had a bad start in Chicago, where the grounds weren't that good either. I mean, yes, it's not necessarily an excuse, but you have to kind of take one. You have to kind of evaluate one against the other, where he's been just as good at home as on the road, and on the road he's arguably had worse luck.
Yeah, but we do know the conditions at Dodger Stadium will be perfect because it's Dodger Stadium and it's perfect. So if he, don't take a chance, have him pitch at Dodger Stadium, and that'll be just fine.
Exactly. Like there's no reason to expose him to anything that you don't have to. Like the weather will be great. He doesn't have to deal with a hostile crowd. Just let him pitch at home and just no reason to, because honestly, if that's the difference,
just in case the YouTube psychologists are right and Glasnow is soft mentally. The YouTube psychologists and Clint Pasillas.
And me a little bit. I was worried about him after that start in Philly. Yeah. I'll be completely honest.
Even if I had the qualifications to diagnose someone psychologically, I wouldn't do it without meeting them. A lot of people who don't have the qualifications and have never met him, still do it. Interestingly, the Dodgers remain favorites over on FanDuel to win this series. They are currently at
and the World Series
-124 to win the National Division Series. They are tied with the Yankees for the best odds at +410 to win the World Series. And they are closing the gap on game one. As recently as last night, it was around -160 in favor of the Phillies. It's down to -122 for the Phillies, +104 for the Dodgers for game one. So the Dodgers are closing that gap as we get closer. Obviously, that's based on betting behavior. And, people are saying, oh, yeah, Shohei Ohtani, that guy's pretty good at throwing a baseball. Hopefully he will. Hopefully the Dodgers can pull that off. I'd love to see a game one win. Obviously, I would like to see a game one win and a game two win and a game three win and just get it over with. But game one, it's like you stole something, because once you win, if you can split the series in Philadelphia, split the two, then suddenly the Dodgers have home field advantage. And if you win game one, you've guaranteed yourself at least a split in Philadelphia, and you can then get greedy and try to win the second game again on Monday, and just go for the sweep. But Dodgers are going to have to play their best baseball, because the Phillies are an excellent baseball team. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. Anything else about this rotation interesting to you, the order? Or I feel like Snell and Yamamoto in that order makes sense, since that's the order they finished the season in and the order they went against the Reds.
No, I will just say this so for everybody who, for years talked about, it was bad that the Dodgers got the first round playoff or the first round bye, because then they got to, wait until the wild card series ended, and now they're saying, oh, it's a good thing that they got to play in the wild card and now play in the divisional series. It's interesting because the Dodgers still, and this is not the norm for pretty much any other team, the Dodgers still get to set up their pitching staff the way they would pretty much want to regardless. I almost guarantee everybody in this chat that even if the Dodgers had the bye, their game one starter would be Shohei, and then they would go Blake Snell and Yamamoto. And even after playing in the wild card, they still get to do that. So it's a weird boon at the same time because of how they played in the wild card series. But I don't think you should hope for this year in and year out, because they end up at the same spot, but also had the risk of losing at the same time.
Dave Roberts said the other night, somebody asked him, a good thing they tried to play in the wild card series, and he said, now that we've won, but we ran the risk of not winning that series, and so that's definitely the case. Alex Renteria in the chat says, Jeff, there are psychologists, Dodger fans, for your information. I know that, and I suspect anyone with actual psychological training is not diagnosing strangers on YouTube. They are doing their job diagnosing
especially
people
through a podcast.
Yeah, on YouTube comments, because they saw him get flustered in the rain one time. So let's talk about the roster. As I mentioned, the roster won't be released till tomorrow, but we know Clayton Kershaw is going to be on it. Dave Roberts said today that Clayton Kershaw will be on the roster and pitching in relief, which some people treat it as news, even though it's been right in line with everything they've said for the last several months. But yeah, I mean, was going to be Clayton Kershaw's role. He was going to be on this roster, especially when we saw that the bullpen's big problem was throwing strikes. You know what? Let's get a strike thrower in the bullpen. And Kershaw had a great relief appearance against the Diamondbacks. He's ready for this role. He's embracing the role. No surprises there, even though some people were surprised.
I might be I don't know if I'm going to be in a minority here. I feel like I am. I would not be surprised if we exit this series, and if we're lucky enough to move on to the NLCS, Clayton Kershaw ends up being in running. He probably won't, because he's a relief pitcher at that point, for NLCS MVP. You want to talk about guys who can empty the tank? It's Clayton Kershaw. Like, the dude can empty the tank. He's already announced he's retiring. He knows he's not starting. Or if he is, like, something's gone horribly wrong, or very, very right, like I've said before. But he knows that's his role, and he just needs to go out every night and just get 3, maybe 6 guys out. It's different than back in 2016, where he had to come out of the bullpen and, get a save, and then 2 days later he had to keep his arm healthy so that he could go out again and start a game. No. That's his role. His role right now is to be a bullpen pitcher, and man, I don't know if there's a better bullpen pitcher or like a hungrier bullpen pitcher than Clayton Kershaw. Like, I don't know if you ask a guy to come out of the bullpen right now and go, you know what? I got nothing to lose. I'm going to get 3 guys out right now than Clayton Kershaw. And I'm really excited to see what Clayton Edward Kershaw can do, because he knows his role. He's accepted it at this point. He's had his goodbye as much as he's wanted his goodbye to be, and he's ready to roll. And I'm really excited. And especially against this Phillies team, which is very, very lefty heavy. At least like their top end is lefty heavy. I'm excited to see what Kershaw can do against all of them. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I agree with that general sentiment. I do think he's unlikely to pitch enough there is no MVP
Correct.
of the NLDS, but NLCS, probably not going to pitch enough to really get consideration there, especially because...
But we're going to look back on important moments.
For sure, But
Clayton got 3 important outs right there.
But we're probably not even going to have moments of he came in and got out of a jam, because I would assume even as a reliever, they're going to start him with a fresh inning. So they will be important innings, but not the headline inducing innings.
It's not going to be fireman role. That's still good. I believe left to Vesey and Treinen. But man, if we're in the 8th inning in a 2-run game, 1-run game, and you got Harper, Schwarber, I don't know if they're going to hit Trey second. I don't know who they like hitting second. But if you got those three guys coming up in a 2-run game, clean inning, man, I'd put money through FanDuel, of course, that Clayton Kershaw's coming out of that bullpen to face those three guys.
Yeah, it could be. I'm excited to see it. People who watch this show are no strangers to the fact that I'm a bit of a Kershaw fan. So excited to have him back on the roster. It'll be interesting to see what moves they make. We're assuming that Anthony Bonda will also be added to the roster. Dave Roberts said he was left off the wild card roster because the Reds have some lefty mashers, specifically Austin Hayes and Miguel Andujar, guys who, it didn't make sense to carry that many left-handers on the roster. But like you said, the Phillies do have some tough lefties who, as we'll talk about in a few minutes, they hit well against lefties too. So it's not like they're just going to come in and dominate them, but makes more sense to add Bonda to it. The Dodgers did only carry 11 pitchers in the wild card series. They're allowed to carry 13. So I would assume that Kershaw and Bonda get added and two position players leave the roster at the same time. Justin Dean is the obvious first choice. I would guess
he didn't catch that ball in center field. How dare you?
He didn't catch that ball that no other center fielder on the Dodgers roster would have even gotten a glove on, But I would guess that Hae-Sung Kim is the other one. It's kind of interesting because both of those guys, their main role is going to be pinch running. Neither of them pinch ran in the wild card series because the Dodgers were never really in a pinch running situation. But they might be dropping both of these potential pinch runners. You'd still have Alex Call, he'd be an upgrade on the bases over Ben Rortvedt or Ron Rovoltet, as Clint calls him.
Man, if Nelly says it, I'm clipping that. I'm gonna have it in my phone saved.
If you missed last night's episode when we were starting talking with Steven Nelson about Ben Rortvedt, I did play a clip from when Clint and Kevin live on the air read about the trade, and Clint was not happy about the Dodgers acquiring Ben Rortvedt, or as he called him, Ron Rovoltet. And Steven did say he's going to try to work that in on the radio broadcast. So definitely listen on the radio broadcast if you can.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm hoping MLB TV will have the syncing issue fixed up with the new feed from TBS. They blamed it on ESPN to me. So hopefully with TBS, they will have the syncing thing, make it easy. But one way or another, I will be listening to the radio feed and listening for Ron Rovoltet. But anyway, all back to that point where Alex Call is still a decent option to pinch run if he's not in the starting lineup. And I would guess with Kike and Teo and Pajes manning the outfield, even with lefties on the mound, there's not really, I guess maybe one game they might start Kike at third and go with Call in the outfield if they don't want Muncy facing three lefties, or I don't know, but chances are Alex Call is going to spend some time on the bench and be available to pinch run. I mean, do you think that's right, that it's going to be Dean and Kim dropping off the roster?
I do think it'll be Dean and Kim, because you're talking like they clearly don't trust Dean to face major league pitching from any side like that. They've made that known. Hae-Sung Kim has massive splits at this point. He's better against right-handed pitching, and the Dodgers are about to face three lefties. Where I slightly differ is I looked it up, who's got good splits against whom in the upcoming series, and Alex Call is 2 for 10 against Christopher Sanchez. Except he has 2 both those hits were home runs. I would not be surprised if they start him against Sanchez just to see if he can tag him a little bit and say, "Hey man, you don't got to do a yard. Just scratch us a double, get us on base, something like that." He doesn't got to do a lot. But that being said, they still need to kick off an outfielder, which would be Justin Dean. And unfortunately, he couldn't catch that one ball that was hit to him in the center field. And so you scratch out Justin Dean. I don't think Hae-Sung Kim has a role at this point because, like you said, Alex Call can pinch run. Kike can pinch run. They have enough guys that can run.
I can't imagine anybody on the roster that Kike would pinch run for.
Will Smith.
Muncie's faster than Will Smith is probably faster than Kike, I would guess.
Oh God. Let's
see who can Google it faster.
No, because it doesn't let me do Kike.
Don't worry, I got it here.
Well,
Kike Hernandez is 0.3 of a foot per second slower than Will Smith. Here's who Kike is faster, who's going to be on the roster. Miguel Rojas, Ben Rortvedt, Freddie Freeman. Those are the three guys on the roster who Kike is faster than. So,
but is he a smarter base runner than anybody but Freddie? My point being is they don't necessarily need Justin Dean or Ha-Seong Kim because they will still have speed in, on the bench. And Alex Call, this is his one role. Even if it is to hit Christopher Sanchez, that's good enough for me. And it should be good enough for anybody because they're going to need to get runs early and just try and put the pressure on him. So I'm in favor of Alex Call, even if he is just starting one game over, obviously, Justin Dean or Ha-Seong Kim, because I don't think Ha-Seong Kim has a role on the roster at this point.
Yeah. And beyond that, I think the rest of the pitching staff, we will see the same guys we saw on the last roster, much to the chagrin of the Tanner Scott haters. I know people want Ben Kasperius on this roster. I don't know why Kasperius is in the situation he's in, but it's, the Dodgers are definitely more familiar with Ben Kasperius' current situation and abilities than I am, and I know that the Dodgers want to win this series, so I have to assume that there's some logic behind it that we will understand at some point, or we won't. We don't always find out everything about these things.
It feels like a situation where, not that he's going to post about it on Instagram, but it feels like Brewstar, where we're all wondering, okay, what's happening with Brewstar? Dave doesn't know. Brewstar's posting on social media, and he's throwing pretty hard. And then all of a sudden, Brewstar comes out and goes, I'm focusing on next year. The rehab didn't go the way I wanted it to. It feels a little bit like that, where maybe Kasperius was a little hampered by something, but at the same time, the team didn't want to announce it. They don't know what's going to happen. I wouldn't be shocked if come late January, we get some announcement that Ben Kasperius had an elbow cleanup. Or
I would guess it's not injury related, just because he did throw a live batting practice today. And so
it still can be.
Well, not even if current injury related. It maybe he was injured a little bit before, and so that kind of hampered him. But I assume they wouldn't be having him throw a live BP if he was injured at all right now. So, but
they push. They push guys that, even if they're hurt. Look at Daniel Hudson last year. That guy was hurt, and they still pushed him. Daniel Hudson was
retiring and 96 years old. Ben Kasperius has a future with the team.
Yeah, but Ben Kasperius is also better than Daniel Hudson was last year. So,
another reason not to risk injury, that they wouldn't be having him throw a live BP if he was hurt.
My point being is, they probably are looking out for Ben Kasperius' future, but if they believed Ben Kasperius at his current health was better than guys on the roster right now, they would push him, because they did that with guys like Daniel Hudson last year, and his arm, as he admitted, was literally falling off the bone.
Yeah, well, so, maybe we're talking about two different things. I'm saying the fact that he threw live BP today tells me that he's healthy right now, and there's a different reason why he's not
trying. They could also be trying it, say, hey, throw live BP, see how you come out of it.
Yeah, could be. So there, like I said, we won't get the roster till tomorrow. Unlikely to be much more news than that. They did say Will Smith again was going to take live BP, and then we'll see. But they're going to carry three catchers again. Will Smith will be on the roster. Probably won't play again. We'll see. But might be more necessary, because probably less likely to have blowouts like they did. I'd be very surprised if we see Will Smith actually playing catcher in this series. Maybe he pinch hits if they need it in a situation, for Ben Rortvedt, and then, pinch hits, and then they put in Dalton Rushing to play defense or whatever after the pinch hit. But beyond that, I think the roster will look exactly the same as it did for the last series, minus Kim and Dean, plus Kershaw and Banda, which gets us to. Go ahead.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Gets us to our last topic, which is the Phillies. I said the other night, I believe that whoever wins this series is probably going to win the World Series. Obviously, anything can happen in any series, but I believe that this is the two best teams in the playoffs, two best teams in baseball. I know the Brewers had a better record, and I know that the Brewers dominated the Dodgers in the regular season. Record-wise, most of those games were one-run games. The Dodgers bullpen
were so hurt when they played them too.
Yeah. So, I think right now you look at these teams, and I think the Dodgers and Phillies are the two best teams in baseball at this point. And so, in a way, it's a bummer that they meet up in the NLDS, but also that's happened. I mean, last year it was the Dodgers and Padres. I genuinely believed and still believe that whichever team won that NLDS last year was going to win the World Series. And, bummer for the Padres that it wasn't them. Good news for us. And, I think that's probably the same case this year. Hopefully it can go the way last year's did, maybe with less stress and drama. I could go for an easier series win, Dodgers. And realistically, if the bullpen can step up, I think there's a decent chance, because we saw when the Dodgers met the Phillies a couple weeks ago, the Dodgers lost 2 out of 3. Both losses were because of the bullpen. And, obviously that's not something you can gloss over, especially after that Red series. There are still some holes, but like I said, it was really 2.5 guys who struggled in that Red series. It was Edgardo Enriquez and Emmett Sheehan and Alex Vesia to a lesser extent than those two, but still more than you would like Vesia. When you look at the expected roles, the Vesia struggles were just as concerning, even though they weren't as severe. But you have Blake Trinan look good. You had Jack Dreyer look good.
Roki
Sasaki looked great. And then you're adding in Banda and Kershaw. We didn't see Robleski or Tanner Scott. Was there one more we didn't see at all in that? Oh, and Glasnow was the other technically reliever who was available, who we didn't see. But
might see tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see. But this Phillies team is very, very good. But also, so is this Dodger team. And so when you look at it, we're not going to do the position by position breakdown like we did before the Red series. But
this is all close. It's all close.
Yeah.
You can make an argument for every position group on both teams. And, you could be like, yeah, this is why the Dodgers, position is better than the Phillies, or this is why the Phillies position is better than Dodgers. And it would all make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And, anybody who tells you one team is much better than the other in this series is lying to you. They're blinded by their fandom, whatever it is. These two teams are very evenly matched. Their records in the regular season were similar. They had similar ups and downs throughout the season. So it's going to be, and they both have very good starting pitching. And
oh my God, so good.
And both teams benefit a bit from the extra day off in the schedule. The Phillies could go with 3 starters. They could just not even use a 4th starter. Hopefully they will use a 4th starter. But also we've seen teams bringing back their starters on short rest in the NLDS has worked in the Dodgers' favor recently too. So there's all sorts of ways this could go. But yeah, that's my main takeaway, is that I'm optimistic, if you can believe that. And I'm not at all confident, but I'm not. This is the first time in a few years, at least, that the Dodgers are going into a series, and I don't feel like, yes, the Dodgers are clearly the better team in this series. And that doesn't always matter in the postseason, but I feel like, obviously the Dodgers were the better team than the Diamondbacks in 2023. The Dodgers were the better team than the Padres last year and 2022. They were a better team than the Yankees last year. Maybe not as much better as they looked in the World Series, but they were the better team. This is the first time in a while, mostly because the Dodgers, did have a little bit of a down year, that I can say, okay, this is pretty evenly matched.
Agreed. Bob Bowie asked, the off day favors who more? I would argue that the off day favors the Dodgers more, simply because the Dodgers rotation is slightly deeper, or not even slightly, it's deeper than the Phillies. So if you look on that fourth day, you either have Tyler Glasnow on a full day's rest, or Blake Snell or on a short rest, or Clayton Kershaw if you really want to push it. Or if you're the Phillies, you have Christopher Sanchez on a short day's rest, or Walker Buehler or Aaron Nola, who have both been bad as starters. Walker Buehler has been great out of the pen. I will never disrespect my man Butane, but he has been bad as a starter this year, has been great out of the bullpen. So that off day definitely favors the Dodgers more in terms of lining up their pitching. If you're asking me if the Phillies are scary, yeah, of course they are, because they have everything a playoff team needs. They are a deep lineup. They have a good rotation. Great rotation. They have three guys that you're like, damn, those guys are scary. And they have a top-heavy bullpen. You're talking like they have three guys at the top of their bullpen that you're like, I don't want to face if we get into a 7-8-9 situation. So they have the makings of winning a 5-game series against anybody. And on top of that, they got some dudes like, Trey Turner has been there, done that. Bryce Harper, been there, done that. Like, they got guys that, you don't want to necessarily pitch to. So it's going to be a ton of fun. And I'm just so glad that the front of their jersey says the Phillies and not like the Diamondbacks. Because if we're talking about the Diamondbacks, then I'm like looking for the nearest tall building and just like rocking on the edge of it, because it's that much more stressful. So this is something where if you're a Dodgers fan, just enjoy it, because these are two really, really good teams. These are two fun teams that we can actually just enjoy. Yeah. And I have a question for you, Jeff. So normally on away games in the postseason, I wear my away Dodgers jersey.
Not your Cubs jersey?
It's just my Dodgers. It's my Dodgers gray. However, my Dodgers gray is a Walker Buehler jersey. Is that like should we like avoid that one because we don't want Walker to like?
Yeah, you definitely can't wear a Walker Buehler jersey when the Dodgers are playing against Walker Buehler's teams. Okay. You do have one option. So my wife, one of the three Dodger jerseys she has is a Zach Greinke jersey, also number 21. And a few years ago, I think it was in 2020 when Buehler was pitching in the World Series, on that day, we took tape and we taped over the Greinke on the back and we wrote Buehler. So you could tape over Buehler's name and write, for example, Scott Podsednik's name. I think he played for the Phillies at some point too. I know Ricky Leday played. Wow, a lot of guys on here also played for the Phillies. Randy Wolf, Marlon Anderson, Ricky Leday, all those guys played for the Phillies. Billy Ashley never played for the Phillies.
Wait, really?
Who? Randy Wolf? Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
You're joking. I get it.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know Randy Wolf played for the Phillies.
Are you serious?
I only remember him pitching for the Dodgers.
Yeah, Randy Wolf spent...
I remember him being like the game one guy and Kershaw was the game two guy. And I remember thinking as a kid, Randy Wolf's a better pitcher than Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, Randy Wolf spent more than... I was
13 years old. Kevin don't know ball, apparently.
Yeah, Randy Wolf spent more than half of his career with the Phillies. So, you go with Bob Baylor.
Didn't have baseball reference back then.
Anyway, so you could do that. Just write somebody else's name. Spider Jorgensen, we're number 21 from 1947 to 1950. So you could go with a Spider Jorgensen jersey. Yeah.
The Dodgers? Oh, okay. Yeah. I might do that. I don't know. Man, Butane's...
Jay Johnstone, born the exact same day as Rick Monday, day and year, like same exact day. So there's an option. Anyway, so that's an option. Or you could just wear a different jersey. But no, you can't.
Ray Soto says I should burn the jersey. I mean, I'll probably end up wearing, my Shohei or Mookie jersey. But it's just feels bad because I always wear away jerseys when the Dodgers are away. But I can't do it right now. Yeah.
So, again, in answer to our question at the bottom of the screen, the Phillies are scary. So are the Dodgers. If I was a Phillies fan, I'd be really nervous about this series.
Oh, absolutely.
I think I'd feel similar. Like, okay, yeah, this is a good team, but we're a good team too. We, just got to play our game and we can win. I really do think it's going to come down to two things. If the Dodgers offense can do what against these Phillies starters, what they did a few weeks ago, I think the Dodgers win this series. And obviously the bullpen needs to step up.
Can we say for once that the Dodgers are coming in hot? They're the team with the momentum because they've swept the Reds. Like, can we finally do that? Because every year when the Dodgers have had the first round bye, they're like, oh yeah, but the other team's coming in hot. They've been playing in the postseason.
Yeah.
Can that work in the Dodgers' favor for once?
Yeah, the Phillies have not played a game that was both good and meaningful in a little while. I had their game log pulled up. There it is. So they played the Twins and the Marlins to end the season, and they did go 5-2 in those games. But then 4-2 in those games. But before that, they lost 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks. So yeah, they haven't played really a good series against a good team since they played the Dodgers. And so yeah, maybe the Dodgers can finally be on the happy end of that what we've seen them on the bad end of, it's going to be a fun series. We can be
on this side of it this time?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm excited. Let's go. Dodgers in 3. I'm kidding.
From a baseball fan standpoint, this is going to be a great series. Obviously, from a Dodger fan standpoint, it's only going to be great if the Dodgers win. If not, it's going to be the stupidest series ever. But you know what? That's okay. That's how October's supposed to be. This is the time that we are supposed to take sports too seriously. Not as seriously as Kevin implied earlier about finding a tall building. But October's the time to be too invested in your team for sure. And like you mentioned, it has been confirmed, guaranteed that for the first time since 2019, the Dodgers will not play an NL West opponent in the postseason this year. Because there was only one other NL West team in the playoffs, and they are no longer in the playoffs because Kevin's favorite team, the Chicago Cubs, dispatched them yesterday with the help of the umpire. In fact, if you ask a certain team, it was entirely the umpire that lost that game. Had nothing to do with that certain NL West team only scoring 5 runs in their last 51 postseason innings. It's rough, but here we are. That's about all I got, Kevin. This is going to be a fun series. I'm excited to watch it and excited to stress about it. And I would love a comfortable win in game 1. Just let us ease into this series, Dodgers, and knock Christopher Sanchez out early, get to the bullpen early, and just kind of set that tone, and then just go from there. That's what I would like. It's a request. That's not a prediction. It's just a request.
What do you have prediction wise? What is your
Dodgers in 4?
Tell you. Okay. I have Dodgers in 4, but I think wildly they lose the first game and then win the next 3.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I could go for that. I'd prefer win the first 2 than
I
lose
would
game
too.
3.
I would too, but
you
just gotta split the series away. You gotta split one of those 2.
Yep. So that's gonna do it for us today. We won't have a pregame show tomorrow. Clint's out of town. I've got too much stuff going on. Busy day tomorrow for me, but we will be with you in some form tomorrow evening. My guess is not right after the game, but somewhere around this same time, around 8 p.m. Pacific, something like that is because that would be the game's at 3:38. So so probably like hour and a half or so after the game. That's kind of what we will be shooting for, but we will be sure to let you know. Obviously, if you always want to know what's going on, you can join our Discord server where we're always making sure everything is known about that. Join that by going to patreon.com/realfrg. $5 a month gets you access to the Discord server, and it's fun just talking Dodgers with a bunch of other Dodger fans over there, especially if you enjoy dooming, because there's a little bit of that going on. Less scoreboard watching these days. There's still a lot because it's still interesting what the other teams are doing in the playoffs. But now that the Dodgers, have made their playoffs, won their division, and the other team in their division is no longer in the playoffs. Now it's just like casual scoreboard watching, like, oh, I wonder what's going on in the rest of the league. And that's fun too. But join us there. Thank you for all of you who've been here. You had a good crowd here tonight, good chat. Thanks to our mods. Thanks to the Bleav Network. Thanks to our sponsor, FanDuel, where, let's see, have the odds changed while we've been talking? Nope, Dodgers still minus 124 to win the series. So the odds have spoken. May the odds be ever in our favor. We will talk to you. Oh, yes, Kevin?
It appears Freddie Freeman took batting practice on the field, which, as we all know, means the man is locked in. He doesn't do that unless he's trying to find something. And it usually...
What we're saying is they don't do an NLDS MVP, but they may have to start doing it just to give Freddie an award. So I would love to see Freddie get going. Obviously, Andy Pajes get going too. A lot of stuff that needs to happen, and it'll start happening tomorrow at 3:38 p.m. Pacific. We'll be with you tomorrow night. Thank you for being here. And with that said, all that's left to say is bye.